Hi guys, this is Miss Eisencraft and I'm back with the second part of the video on how to convert between radians and degrees. And we're going to go ahead and move straight to converting between degrees and radians. So this is when they give you something in degrees and you want to change it to radians. So if we start with just a nice example, one that's not too hard. Let's say we want to have 30 degrees. And we want to change it to radians. Okay. So again, when you're using the conversion factors that we talked about earlier, our goal is to get it in radians. So we want to use the conversion factors with radians up top. So if we look up here, we had two conversion factors. We had 180 degrees over pi radians and pi radians over 180. So we want to use them with radians up top. And we also know that when we leave it in terms of pi, radians, we always want pi up top. So this one makes sense. So we are going to multiply pi radians over 180 times 30 degrees. So let's write it here. So on all of these, to convert degrees to radians, you're going to multiply by the conversion factor, pi radians over 180 degrees. And again, we can start ignoring or leaving out the word radians and degrees, but at first it just kind of helps us see what we're doing. So if I have 30 degrees, okay, I'm going to multiply it by pi over 180. And really the degrees cancel out. We have the word radians up here. Now here's where your work with fractions is going to be important. You're going to have 30 pi up top and 180 at the bottom. So you just multiply across the top. You can treat that like a 1 and 180 at the bottom. You need to simplify this. Now, you can do it mentally, do it a bunch of ways, but a lot of you are going to want to know how to do it on a calculator. First of all, leave pi out of it, right? Because we're not multiplying out pi. We're not simplifying pi. So we need to simplify 30 1/80ths. And a lot of you would know how to do that on this calculator. You can go 30 divided by 180, and you can hit math, enter, enter, and you get 1/6. On Desmos, you can also use your scientific calculator, and when you enter 30 1/80ths, there's a little spot to show how to get to a simplified fraction, okay? And I would assume that a lot of you could probably do that by hand by looking for a common factor, but you're leaving pi out of it. So you would have 1/6 pi, or pi 6. Both of those are the same. So if we go back, what did we just do? Well, 30 degrees is equal to pi 6 radians. Same spot on the circle. Okay, let's try another one. It's a little bit bigger one. Say we have 225 degrees and we are trying to change it to radians. So we're keeping it in terms of pi and we are using a fraction and simplifying it. So we have 225 degrees. We're going to multiply it by the conversion factor pi radians over 180 degrees. So the degrees cancel out, it's just the unit, and you're left with radians. So we have up top 225 pi over 180. A little bit more annoying to simplify. You can hit 225 divided by 180. There's other ways to do it as well. When you hit enter, your calculator is defaulted usually to decimal mode. Math, enter, enter. It's taking your last fraction, sorry, your last entry and changing it into a fraction in simplified form, 5/4. So that is 5 pi over 4, or 5/4 pi. And so we would have 225 degrees is equal to 5/4 pi, or 5 pi over 4, which would make sense. This is past 180 because 4/4 pi would be just 180. This is past 180. So somewhere, in quadrant 3 over here, same spot. Hey, let's try another one. So example 3, what if we had 27 degrees? 27 degrees. We want to change that to radians. So the conversion factor, we have 27 degrees times pi over 180. Degrees cancel out. So we have 27 pi over 180. Hey, I know 9 goes into both of those. Watch me do this one without a calculator. Okay, so since 9 goes into both, again, I'm ignoring pi when I simplify. So I'm dividing both numerator and denominator by 9. Three pi over 20, or 3/20 pi. So 27 degrees equals 3 pi over 20. Okay. Oh boy, I got a bit of a glare. So sorry. Sunshine is coming in the window. Okay, last one. 700 degrees, so more than a full rotation. Okay, 700 degrees, almost 2 full rotations if I think about that, right? 360 is once, 720 is 2. So it seems like it's supposed to be in quadrant 4 down here. Let's see what that would be. So 700 degrees. If we want to change it to radians, I'm going to multiply by pi radians over 180 degrees. Some of you might say, aren't we just really dividing by 180? Yes, when you multiply by pi over 180, yeah, this ends up being dividing. 700 pi over 180. Boom, I know the zeros cancel out, divide by 10. I'm just going to use my calculator, my friend. 35/9 pi. What in the heck? So 700 degrees equals 35 pi over 9. If you think about it, 36/9 would be 4 pi, which would be 2 full rotations. And so this is almost 2 full rotations in degrees, because remember, this is the same, just a different way of saying it. 720 degrees would be 2 full rotations, very close. 36 pi over 9 would be 2 full rotations, or 4 pi. Okay. So as you're doing these, it's important to know what is your desired unit you're trying to end in, and use the conversion factor with that unit up top. Okay, the simplifying fractions can get a little bit weird. We're keeping radians in terms of pi and in simplified form. We do not write it as mixed numbers. I heard Miss Moret say that in her notes earlier. And on these here, we're going to degrees. The only one that can be a little bit weird is when they give you radians not in terms of pi. Then you need to use pi in your calculation, like 3.14, the approximation, or the pi button on your calculator, which is a little bit of a closer approximation to what pi is to calculate. So good luck. You guys are going to do great.